Kia ora Year 10. Here's a video about measuring land area. This is part of our new topic on measurement, and this is one of the conversions that you probably didn't see in Year 9. Okay, on these two slides I've put some pictures to give you a clue about one of the main units that we use to measure land area. Okay, so this picture here is in London, and this is Trafalgar Square. And this is the Hamilton rugby field. Both of these are about 1 hectare, and the hectare is a really common unit for measuring land. This is the next clue. This is the bigger unit for measuring land area, and here we're looking at Abel Tasman National Park. Now some of you might get to go there later in the year on Year 10 camp, but today what we're interested in is how big it is. And it's 225 kilometres squared. So obviously this beautiful beach is just one little part of it. So that beach is about 1 kilometre long. Alright, so what I want to do now is to take a look at how we can convert between different units for land area, just like we do with length and weight and capacity. Okay, so here in the middle we've got the hectare. Now, you're probably wondering where that name came from. Well, it comes from back in France in the 1700s when they were coming up with the metric system, or something very, very close to it. And 1 are, A-R-E, is equal to 10 metres by 10 metres. And when we've got 100 of those, we have 1 hectare. So in this little picture in the middle that I've taken from Wikipedia, you can see that 1 hectare is 100 metres by 100 metres. So that should give you a clue about how we're going to convert. So altogether, 1 hectare has got 100 times 100 metres squared. In other words, it's got 10,000 metres squared. So, if I want to convert from metres squared to hectares, here's how I do it. I divide by 10,000. If I want to go in this direction, from 1 hectare to 1 metre squared, I multiply by 10,000. Now, if I want to go from hectares, so in the middle here I've got 1 hectare. From hectares to kilometres squared, I divide by 100. And to go back the other way, I multiply by 100. Okay, so in your books I'm going to give you a clean version of this that I want you to pop into your notes. That's coming up on the next slide. Alright, so in the middle we've got the hectare, which is HA. Over here we've got 1 metre squared, and over here we've got 1 kilometre squared. Right, so to go from hectares back to metres squared, we divide by 10,000. To go the other way around, from metres squared to hectares, we multiply by 10,000. To go from hectares to kilometres squared, we divide by 100. And if we're going back the other way, from the big unit, kilometres squared, to the little unit, hectares, we multiply by 100. Okay, so if you can copy that into your notes and just head that up, land area conversions. And then on the next slide there are 6 examples for you to try. Alright, so pause the video now and try these in your book and use the diagram to help you. Alright, the first question was to convert 4.56 kilometres squared to hectares. Well, from kilometres squared to hectares means multiply by 10, so we're going to write down equals 4.56 times 100 hectares. Now I want this working out because it makes it really clear which units you're in. Then the next line is where you clean up your calculation, and you should get 456 hectares. Okay, on to question 2. So here we're converting from a small unit to a big one. So 62,500 metres squared is equal to 62,500 divided by 10,000 hectares. Right, so thinking about this, moving the decimal point so that we get a smaller number, I end up with 6.25 hectares. Now it's worth just checking that back, looking at that first digit and going 6 times 10,000 gives me 60,000, so that looks good. Right, the next questions. 220 hectares, how many kilometres squared is that? Well, going from hectares to kilometres squared, I divide by 100. So that gives me 2.2 kilometres squared. Right, again, just check your answer back and say what's 2 times 100? Gets me back the other way, back to 220. So that's good. 3 left to go. Okay, this next one is 719 metres squared. So I want to know how many hectares it is first, and then I'm going to end up at kilometres squared, but we're going to do that in 2 steps. So from metres squared to hectares is 719 divided by 10,000. Right, so if we had 719 divided by 1,000, that would be 0.719, but this is one place further over. There we go. Now we can check this back again by looking at 4 zeros in there, so that's 10 to the power of 4. And if I work it backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, do I end up with 719? Well, yes, I do. Okay, just going to erase that because that's a bit ugly. There we go. So that's got us to hectares. Now, to get us converted to kilometres squared, I need to divide by another 100. So 0.0719 over 100 km squared, which is 0.0000719 kilometres squared. There we go. Okay, so just finishing this one off, I've got 0.2 hectares and I want to convert it to metres squared. So it's going to be 0.2 times 10,000 to get to metres squared, which is equal to 2,000 m squared, metres squared. Next one, 0.2 kilometres squared. How many metres squared is that? So first we go to hectares, which is times by 100. So that's 20 hectares. And now I'm going to go to metres squared. So that's times 10,000 metres squared. So that gives me, let's see, 200,000 metres squared. Now you can see from that example why we don't talk about the size, the area of countries or national parks in metres squared. Already with that little number of 0.2 kilometres squared, it's getting quite hard to read that number. Alright, and just for one person in the class, here is the lightsaber to show you what I'm talking about. So we've got 0.2 kilometres squared. First we changed it to hectares, and then we changed it into metres squared. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and there are more harder examples in context in the beta textbook for you to try now.